How you doing, everybody? Welcome to episode 12 of PG and Dak's Real Football Podcast. This week we're joined by the Cumnock management team, Tony McInally and Mark Cameron. We'll also have a special wee guest appearance for committee man Jock Sanderson. It's a right good laugh this episode, so stay tuned for it. Don't forget, this episode is sponsored by Fit CBD. They have a full range of organic plant-based products that will help with any sleep issues, joint pain, back pain, or if you struggle with anxiety. I use the CBD oil at night myself. Couple of drops under the tongue. Honestly, what a sleep you get, but I'd highly recommend it. The 500mg strength oil is ideal if it's your first time using CBD. And for a 20% discount, use the code PGDAC20. Enjoy the episode. Cheers.
Right everybody, here we are at Cumnock Juniors. We've got Jock, a gaffer Tony and Branko, the assistant manager.
You signing?
Honestly. I used to play here.
15 minutes and I've got signed with the boys. Tony, listen, I used to play here. Every club.
Oh, you used to come down here
And watch the boys with a strip on.
Only way down we seen the sign for Auckland like that. I used to play for them and all. No, but Tony,
He used to come down here
Branko,
steal money, that's what he used to do.
Tony, Branko, thanks for having us. And this is Jock. Jock's on the committee, he's been with the club since he's been born basically, so brilliant to have him on it as well. Just to do a wee walk round and see all the great work that's getting done at Cumnock. Let's go, boys.
A pleasure.
Boys are in.
We've got my runners board here. The best two things was the 79-89 Cup finals. And we won the Scottish Cup. That was it, brilliant days.
So you look at that board, you see the good history the club's had, brilliant history.
Well, it's still need to go up to date a wee bit yet, but aye, it's...
No pressure, Tony.
The history of the club, they are founded in 1912. We had our centenary then, 2012. That was a brilliant time as well.
I'm just looking at this is when Faz was on. So apparently, we won this when I was here. I wasn't playing obviously, but we won this when I was here. Apparently, but I don't remember it to be honest with you.
I think he forgot to tell you that, didn't he?
Aye.
You were one of these squiddles that get stripped, you weren't
I came down on the Saturday, like the game's a Friday night, I came down on the Saturday, what the fuck is it?
So we'll be hitting Tony.
PG, you can go and
You
all
won
that
next
way.
season.
I would love that. I would love that. Put a wee on the board for Cumnock, aye.
First ever West of Scotland, that'd be nice.
That would be good, aye.
Never won it. Never won it.
Well,
Have faith in the management team, Jock. You know what I mean? The boys are here.
We'll take us through, we'll go through and see the video analysis room. It's all changed days.
Team meeting room.
The biggest telly in fucking Ayrshire in here. Honestly, brilliant man.
it's legit.
You got a receipt for it?
Hopefully that's the one that Bertel didn't buy at the garage.
In the QA.
Make sure there's one in it.
It's actually just an empty box.
It's an empty box in the remote.
Aye.
Keep the box up.
There's no plug. Brilliant.
Tell us a wee bit about what's going to happen in here.
So we've got the video camera, which will film all the games and all the training sessions that we've got. So Monday night what we plan to do is bring the boys in here for maybe 10-15 minutes, go over what we see on a Saturday, make improvements, maybe make that the theme for the week, what we're going to do. So the telly will go on the wall and we'll get the boys in here probably after training and just work on them, just try and improve all the players.
I know it's a setup, isn't it?
It's unreal,
ridiculous,
mate.
man.
And here, see all the people out there that think, well, senior clubs now, we're classed as, but all junior clubs, look at the setup that some of these clubs have got.
Yeah.
We rooms to do analysis and stuff like that, so it's a big deal. This is how serious we take our football.
So we'll focus on key things like goals against, goals for, set pieces, any phase of play, any of these kind of areas. We'll just focus on them, small 15-minute. And then
you look at that, right? You're going to be talking about all that stuff, and you'll have like the video cam. That think back to when you were players or just started management. That should have been fucking pie in the sky. It should have been ridiculous to think that this was something that was possible. You know what I mean?
some of us might get caught doing other things. The other good thing about the VO is as well, we can clip it and maybe send individual clips to each player and say this is how you done on Saturday. Strikers, defenders, midfielders.
How much of a difference do you think that will make to players being aware of what they're doing? It's like, even when we were playing, the odd club would do a bit of YouTube stuff, but it wasn't a massive amount of detail in it. Now you're actually able to send boys away, do you think that'll help them prepare for next games or even understand their game a lot better? Because you know what it's like with players, they start going, oh no, I didn't do this wrong, I didn't do that wrong. You're like, well, I can show you now.
Yeah, it should develop them as well, because not only are you going to show them the weaknesses, you'll show them strengths as well. And that's the areas you work on. So things like if they've dropped a runner at a cross or something like that, you can point that out, because as you know, as night follows day, a player will come in and go, that wasn't mine. You can say, well, there it is there, you were on the number 8, he's dropped you, and he's in the box and he's got a header off.
And sometimes you might not even have to tell them, because they know they've got that camera there now, so they'll know aware that wee bit more aware.
We'll trial it all during pre-season, see training and games and stuff like that, we'll trial it till we get it spot on, and then when we send it away we'll get exactly what we're actually looking for.
I'm blown away when you come down to clubs and you're seeing the watch, is what I was saying to Tony and Branco and joking the way down. I say, I've never been down to Cumnock. It's I'm one of the lower league junior players. I've never been up there.
You're a good teammate.
I've come in big time, new Hollywood, new a camera crew and all that.
Clubs want us to come. Clubs never wanted us before.
Let's
And they socks on.
No socks on.
No socks on. See, before we get to the management room, if anybody from Cumnock's watching, just get out of your internet and fire that, and that's your code. You get that for free, don't worry about it. Fucking save yourself a fortune.
Joe, can you go and get the boys a couple of socks?
Right.
Why am I base here?
We'll get to the management room here.
You can see all the healthy stuff in your fridge.
What's there?
A nice therapy. Even looking at this, I mean,
Who's doing the tour? But I'm sure it was
Sorry.
the boys and you actually did it stuff with your club here.
He's just taking
What is going on here?
Remember, this was his club.
Yeah, this was PG's number. Look, can we get that one, Steve? That was him. That was him when he was at Cumnock, 15, just at the side of the party or just at the dugout.
I was
running up and down the side.
I was sub number 4. I don't remember being that high up.
Is that why you always had a flag in your hand?
Joke, I don't need the views, mate.
No, so this is what it is, Gaffer. I think take it you come in, Tony, and this is a lot of your time spent with the backroom staff, with Branko, Stuart, let's get stuff like that, just in here going through stuff for match day. And
match day, preparation for the week, themes for the week, what players we need to identify, you know, scouting, whatever it is we need to do. Obviously the board's blank now, but typically what we've got is themes for training, phases of play. We know what we're going to work on week to week, where our weaknesses are, where our strengths are, who we're trying to bring to the club. You know, we'll throw some tactical stuff about there, and you know, everybody, the way I work with my management teams, I give them a big say in how we work. It's not just myself. I'd be silly not to use the experience of Mark and Stuart and Biscuit, and we do talk about the opposition and we throw it in where you know, teams will be weak, where they're strong, where we're good, where we're brilliant, you know, and how to actually beat the opposition. So we do a lot of tactical stuff in here.
yeah,
So we're doing a bit of player analysis and our own guys as well, bookings for, times of bookings and all that, just when one of our players says the
details, brilliant.
see the best it was, but I love how Tony says that that's blank. It wasn't blank when I came in. I know everything Cumnock are going to do next season. So if you want to know how they set up, who they're trying to sign and all that, come and give us a shout. Nah, I can't know. But
what you need to be careful is that I seen Neil Lennon set up his tactics over that time, and you need to watch that, because I didn't work with a fuck for Celtic. Where's next on the tour since Stacks fucking put me in my place? I'm not allowed to take the tour anymore. So where do we go
John,
now?
where are we going, mate?
Players dressing room.
dressing room.
A lot of work been done in there.
But what about this here? This is on you for the This is Branko shite who's in there.
One thing I like, and I've already said this, is how the manager's office is a fucking mile away from the players' dressing room, so you don't need to hear all their shite. So you don't need to listen to all their shite.
I used to come in and sit here so that Faz didn't know I had snuck in. So I thought I was in the squad every week, but I wasn't.
See, just look at the dressing room, great space, brilliant. I know a bit of work's been put in as well. The one thing for me, just when we've come up and met the boys in the committee, is, well, as the usual probably will tell me, how much work you actually have to day to get things up to scratch for the licence. I didn't realise how particular everything was to try and get
that's
up.
what I was talking about. I mean, it's something that we didn't know is that you have to have 22 pegs. I mean, even minute detail like that, it's good. This is one of the things we really enjoy is that for guys at their sales job, people get to see what the committee's day. Like we had it when we were doing it Paul with Murday, and it's like people just think that you turn up, pick a team, do a bit of training and that, go to the park and play. I don't think people realise how much is
what goes on behind the scenes is huge now.
Particularly down here, I was speaking to a couple of committee members, and we'll touch on it when we're sitting down later, about the community hub stuff you're doing. I think that's incredible, the work that's going in, that the club are doing for the community. I think it's absolutely massive.
See, sorry PG, I know what I love about Cumnock, as I said, I've not been really doing here as a player, but it's got that proper feel, man. It's just like, it's old school, but it's up to date. You get me? I know it maybe sounds a wee bit kinda, but it's not lost its roots. It's the original building. Do you know what I mean? I love all that. And it just
There's still more improvements to come here. So what we're going to do is take down this wall and that wall, and that will make 25% more bigger dressing room for the boys. We'll close this door here and we'll put the pegs all the way along. So we'll make that longer there. And that will give us this whole area. Will come out. That'll all come out, and then.
What's going to be the plan then? Because Mr. Orr was telling us that he's kind of get the. Can I see like you see a lot of the clubs have the individual bits for the players. See if that warms up. Is that something you maybe look at?
We will look at that. Beyond that, there's a kind of boiler room which will become the players' boot room as well. That will be converted as well. So
you can touches that.
So what we're going to do is take that down, and as Mark says, just go through the door, and that'll be the boot room, and there'll maybe be some kit room in there as well.
It just shows me, lads, and I take my hats off to you really do, yourselves and the club. There's no much football been played in the last year, but by fuck how much stuff's been getting done at clubs, you know what I mean?
You're not stopping here.
Hats off, Joe, honestly, hats off to yourselves, committee, management team, because I know that he's are all mucking in and everybody's having to do their bit, but it just shows you teams aren't they just sitting back, resting in what they've got. They've tried.
As you say, it's the original building, but it's a huge facelift.
Definitely. That's like Joe, obviously, like we've been on Facebook with each other, so like, it's something I've kept in touch with my time at the club, and I see the work you put in, you're out twice a week, kind of brushing the park and all that, and again it's things that people don't realise, and even some players don't realise that needs to be done for the Astro. It can't just be, you just turn up and play. But Brian Cullen, you tell us, what's Tony like in the dressing room? Is he Gaffy's nut? Is he a walking about type guy?
I'll leave that for over by.
Let's do the part, let's do it!
Good for the part, isn't it?
Here there's going to be stencils and motivational quotes all in the dressing room and all the way along the wall.
Fucking pictures of meat and things like that.
All the way up to
That's motivational.
So there's motivational quotes going to be stenciled on it.
Going to have something like, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take.
Hopefully a wee picture of PG and that with Tony and Branko just here. So it's the last thing the boys see before they go to the bar.
This is a new dressing room we're trying to make for the referee, because we're going to make space for 4 officials.
Because of licence as well.
Make it weird, Jock, man. We don't need for referees on this thing.
And we've got to put table and chairs in there for them as well.
No, brilliant, mate. Good to see you
Craig.
looking after the officials in here as well.
Craig, we'll get you to come in here, right, because this is probably my favourite part. All this great work's been done, right, and then this is the away dressing room, and it is a proper get it right up here. Get the fuck off as the day. I like this because it is shite in terms of, compared to the home dressing room, I like that, man. It's...
Well, maybe you beat
Wait, this here. This is what I
maybe the points for the
Is that the stretcher? They've left the stretcher in here saying basically we're going to kick fucking you today.
That's my bed.
We'll head out to the bar.
This is what it's all about. Look at that view for there, Craig, by the way. Look at that.
So this is where the magic happens.
Oh, wow. What a night and off for it. Here, look, watch this, right? You seen In-Betweeners? Have you seen In-Betweeners? We've got a wee song right ready. It's Tony McInally and Tony McInally. Oh, that's what it's all about. I've not got nothing for Branko, but Tony, that's what I'm saying. can you imagine coming, well I could only imagine as a player, coming for there, you're playing Talbot in a derby, this place is jumping, and you're coming for up there doing with a cracking atmosphere. How good it must be to come play football.
It's alright, mate. It is. It's good.
Aye, alright, aye. He came in and went straight there, but imagine running on the
I
park.
got a feeling of the atmosphere.
No, it's brilliant, man. The place is looking
Straight out onto the subs bench when you come in there.
brilliant.
The thing is, it's like, we were talking about it earlier, Joe, we've got...
Joke, it wasn't you there in those days, it was you there.
That's true, you're right.
That was it, right?
That was away, you never there.
And we were talking before we started shooting, even with the floodlights and stuff like that, Friday night games and that, Tony, that's or midweekers and
Is
stuff
that a
like
possibility for yourselves with like the Talbot or something?
We've already arranged.
Aye, brilliant, because I think a Friday night down here, PG and Dak down here, I think it'd be fucking class, man.
No, we've already arranged a couple of games with
No, we will be
other
doing
teams,
it.
and we're going to reverse it as well because they've got floodlights, so they'll bring a couple of bus loads and we'll take a couple of bus loads up as well. So
it's amazing.
Tell us, Jock, you're a man to be able to tell us, what's some of the work that you've done at the park to get up to the standard for the licence?
Well, you want it about putting this down like?
No, just in terms
just,
of, what details were having to be brought in?
But obviously inside, we had to get all that there done inside to bring it up to scratch. Kenneth likes a new referee's room and, well, different things as you've seen it's been done in there.
a doping room we needed.
We've got a doping room there, we've got a medical room.
Female referees room.
A dope room, so usually get the boys taking gear before you come out and play. That's brilliant, man. They're going to do well.
So Max would be saying me dopey, man, sitting there like that.
For lights, the floodlights and all that, they were all in place when this got put up, so
So you need all these things, disabled toilet facilities as
we've
well,
got there,
as defibrillators.
that's ongoing.
There's an awful lot of stuff that
We've done-
you need to do behind the scenes.
Only that must be some amount of money as well, it's money wise.
There's something like 160 criteria. So if you take away the football side, you know, you've got to be licensed coaches, you've got to have a licensed coach for the goalie, then you've got to have qualified physio, you've got to have a recognised doctor, you've got to have a doping room, you've got to have a separate room for a
medical room.
Female assistant referees or referees, you've got to have a certain size away dressing room, home dressing, how many pegs, and then you start to add on, the VOs are just a wee bit above, but there's a whole raft of criteria you've got to do. But you know, the club's done brilliant.
Oh, definitely.
See,
even the academy stage as well, you've got to do an awful lot of criteria. You've got to
just shows you in it the work that clubs need to put just to get to this level. Do you know what I mean? It's unbelievable. Just before we finish up here, and I know we're going to take it into the social committee, the social room. What's the best memory for you on this part? Just a quick one after your best memory down here, Branko.
Since we've been here.
No, just anyone in general. Have you got anything for us, Branko? It's been that long since you kicked a ball.
No, probably as a playing capacity, obviously my days here, but it was grass when I was at the Buff, so we had many good days here against Cumnock. But for Tony and I think it's probably we're running at the tail end of the season.
6 clean sheets,
Yeah.
8 games unbeaten.
Impressive at that level.
And we'd only just been in the door. I remember coming down here actually with shots, and we beat Cumnock 5-3 in the Scottish Cup. That was a brilliant game.
You couldn't have. No, you couldn't have. Don't leave that.
It was an absolutely phenomenal game, and we won 5-3, and it was real old school, you know, round about the terrace, and all the Shots fans were down there. Cumnock 3/4, and it was mobbed, and it was a fantastic game. It went 1-0, 2-1, 2 each, 3-2. It was a real ebb and flow, and then we just pulled away for Cumnock. But that was a fantastic day on the old grass park.
And hopefully more to come. Joe, I'll let you finish it on this. You've been a fan and part of the club all your days, mate. What's your best memory here at Cumnock Townhead Park?
I think when we won the Cup in '89, I was part of the committee at that time. And after it was all by, we came back here and opened up bus, and all the fans got in here, and they were just mingling with the players, and it was just an absolutely excellent day.
No pressure, Tony.
So I think Tony will manage to help us out there again, him and Branko.
Love it. Confidence in the management team. That's what it's all
Let's
about.
get ourselves into the social club and get a couple of jars.
Okay.
Right, that's us inside the social club. I tell you what, Dak, this is some place, isn't it?
Yeah,
what a
honestly.
setup.
jumping, man.
What about the young team on the Venoms through there?
I can't believe we can do a podcast about football and I'm asking Branko and Tony, is there a travel lodge for so I can stay and get on it, do you know what I mean? Unbelievable, Jeff.
Brilliant. But we'll get into it. We'll talk a wee bit about previous for these and then we'll go back on to what your hopes and aspirations are for the coming season. So, first one we'll start, do you know what? Sorry Tom, we'll start with Branko since he's mentioned it a couple of times, right? Captain of the Buffs Scottish Cup winning team in '99. Tell us a bit about that. How was that side? Because Faz has obviously spoken about it when he was on. How do you think that side was?
Very, very good. I was fortunate to be part of that squad, and I don't know if it was just luck or how it managed to happen. You know, great boys off the pitch, great guys in the dressing room, great guys on the pitch. And I know Faz touched on some of the things like as a squad, as players. But I used to love getting stick off opposition fans. But 5-10 minutes to go, if we were getting beat 1-0, I would tell them we're going to beat you.
No.
And it wasn't arrogant at the end. We were just confident how we were as a squad and how we were as players. It was never say die, and we just kept plugging away and we believed in ourselves. But there was just so much about that squad. It was, I mean, they could grind out results. We had guys that would just keep plugging away and grind you down, but we also had very, very talented footballers.
I think that's quite a big thing. Like you see people talk about, and I apologise for mentioning their name here, but you see people talk about Talbot where it's not always pretty, but see, to be winners, you've got to do that. I played for the Talbot, so I did.
CJ's doing that, right?
I wouldn't say that too loud.
Tony and back me up.
Sorry, it was a fire incident.
Tony and Branko back me up, right? We come to Cumnock, right? And it is legit. You did play. You showed me one wee YouTube where you scored a goal for Cumnock, right? I'll give you that. But I'm sitting having a great conversation with Tony and Branko. Good football guys, 3 good football guys, right? And you're chatting with Wendy, summoned me up to the office, mate. It's not your club, mate. Right? Come on, mate.
Well, mate, I'm trying to make this as professional as possible.
No,
The guys understand. We're talking about the licence and all that. We're no fucking St Rock's not carrying on being a bit of nonsense. I'm only kidding because I like St Rock's, they're a good team. Right?
It was like he'd missed them, wasn't he?
The kill! And
Give me your son.
so we've already spoken about one Scottish Cup as a player. Tony, how was winning the Scottish as a manager with shots?
Brilliant. Similar to Branko. Great group of boys, all young. Average wage, 32 quid. 32 quid, the boys were on. Brilliant team spirit.
Are you that serious?
I'm being serious.
See, you're laughing, mate.
I'm laughing
because
because I didn't hear him properly. I thought he said average age of 32 quid.
No.
Then I realised once he said it, I realised obviously, but
that group of boys, special group of boys, had a great togetherness. Just grew as the season went on. We knew we had a decent side at the start of the season, but I thought you were lucky. Well, aye, but as I say, they were a good team, really good team. We rode our luck in some rounds, as you do in the Scottish. I remember playing Cumnock. We should have been beat up there. Drew 2 each, took them back and beat them 4-0.
Well, it's funny you're saying that because when Faz was talking about you nearly lost to the Port, you nearly lost to them, and you're like a club that you should never have been losing to, but
it's one of the days.
It's cup football, isn't it?
But bobbly pitch, nothing was going for us. Just had a real off day, and we got out of jail. Seriously. Cumnock's manager is the manager up at Elgin, Gavin Price, but they were a good side.
Aye.
And see, to be honest with you, they should have beat us in the day, but we took them back, beat them 4-0. But just the whole cup run, you just had a feeling about it. And we ended up getting up that season as well, and we won the League Cup as well.
I remember
that season, so we had a great season.
I remember kind of reasonably well that time because nobody's expected you to do what you did. And did you know something like 13 games in the 1 month?
Aye, we played. It was actually 17 games in 29 days we played, and that included a week off preparation for the Scottish Cup. And even then, we didn't have a week. We were told to play on a Monday night. So the Talbot had a week off. We had 5 days off, and we beat them in the final. How many rain dances did you have that season? Tony's rain dance at the side of the pitch. Well, no, they're a special group of boys, and they're all still tight as anything. I speak to them often. They're a great group, and some talented boys.
As well, it was like Yous are still in a group chat, you know Brian,
Yeah, yeah.
boys,
So is
winning
my- so is
boys,
my
and then
boys.
your boys are probably still in a group chat.
We still play charity games and things like that as well.
You still see things, I still see wee snippets of boys I know on Twitter and stuff like that, and you always see them going, oh, cup winning side then, and they all get together and all that, or they're all teaming that. I love to see that, because I always try and stay in contact with as many people as I can that I played with. Unfortunately, we didn't win fucking very much, mate. So it was just a good restroom.
You said some nights out, but didn't you?
Oh, mate, see when I'm there, mate, know what I mean? This is the only stage I've been on and no been in the buff. So, my first one I've been,
Well, it's still early.
know what I mean? I know. Well, they're serving venoms now. I never knew that they could get a venom in here until I seen somebody with one.
It's honestly, well, what I mentioned, man, it's the young team, proper strong in there.
Oh,
but they're helping contribute to the club.
This is right.
So-
I know we're talking about the club, right? And this is goes in the club, right? Like, we come into Cumnock, right? Cumnock Social Club. The facilities are amazing. Tony, Branko, committee have all been brilliant. Brings into social club, amazing hospitality, and I'm thinking, social club's jumping. I'm going, they're all going to know who we are, PG.
That's it, mate, you're right.
And me and you walked in as Hollywood and a bit of Hollywood, a wee bit of British
Bollywood.
Bollywood. Not bad for you, Frank, you know what I mean? Love it's not too long, mate. Love that shit, by the way. A wee bit of Bollywood anyway. Baldy Bollywood star, Mike. You're chuffed.
Give it a tan in here,
He's chuffed.
You can come down and
He's
win the
chuffed.
buffet.
And we came down and I thought, we're going to be well known down here. And pied for the gaffer and Branko. Tony! Branko, how he's doing that? The red carpet suit and all that.
But there's a future generation of PG and DAC followers in there now,
Yeah,
mate. That's it. We've opened ourselves up to a new market, the young team.
But brilliant, honestly, brilliant.
Right, so back onto the reason we're here.
Yeah.
2 Venoms, Amy, please. You've went on to Pollock, obviously arguably the biggest club at our level. How was your time there?
Loved it. I was 4.5, 5 years at Pollock.
You've come in and it's been a bit of a tough time at the start.
Oh, it was a
wasn't
shit show.
I mean, the fact that they went down when you've come in at Christmas time, haven't you?
Aye.
That's
I've come in and there's, I think, 9 league games to play, and we were still in the League Cup or something like that. And the 9 league games, I think we won 3 or 4 of them, lost 3 or 4, and drew 1. And we went down in goal difference, I think. But the team was miles. It was miles. Average age of the team was about 35. You know, they had been good players in their day, but it needed changes, and Pollock needed modernised big time. You know, it looks a massive club on the outside, but see when it was inside, it was like a bowling club, if I'm being honest with you, and it really needed modernised. No training facilities. Every week I had to phone up, can I get this, can I get that? It wasn't a good place, so we just thought, rip up and start again. And we said to them, listen, this is a long-term gig, this is a 3-5 year job. And after about 18 months, we had won the league with a record number of points. We'd won the Evening Times. Then I think we won the League Cup, and then we got to this final in Scottish.
that's right, yeah.
In 2 years. So what we thought we would achieve was really accelerated, and the crowds kept coming back. But Pollock is a club, fantastic club. I love my time there. I had some brilliant players. Some of the people that backed me, Franny McNeil, God rest him. You know, Ian McFarlane was terrific. Stuart McDonald, brilliant as well. You know, the lifeblood, Big Dell, who you've met, the kit man, superb. But I was fortunate, I had great players. I had guys like
Carlo Monte was running them up, getting all the goals on that YouTube and all that.
for expenses.
Average wage, £32.
I was really lucky. Some of the players that I had, and they gave me carte blanche to bring it in. So they've not got, believe it or not, they've not got the biggest budget in the world. Pollock, every penny is a prisoner, but you've got to use it wisely. So having to bring in Jordan Longmuir, Paul Gallagher, Mark Sideserf, Tam Hanlon, the 2 Winters brothers, the 2 McCanns.
They're not paying you anymore, you don't need to say that.
But they were really brilliant pros, really good players, and it was a privilege to manage you guys. They were really
Get
good.
relegated right after that.
Do you think, see for me, do you think that it helps, Tony? And I know this one I'll fire out to Branko, because I know Branko, PG will touch on it, has been a gaffer and that as well. It helps that you know a lot of good players, so they're no interested in money in it. I like to think with a lot of players. Like, listen, let's be honest, players get a raw deal, don't they? Where they think they're only doing things for money. But let's be honest, players can be loyal if they like playing for a manager.
Absolutely,
so I had a manager, the likes of Tam, for you, Tam Hanlon, Sidey and all that, they want to come and play for you. They don't care about how much money they're getting, they just enjoy the time with you and they want to come and play for you. So you being a good manager and having success at the likes of shots and stuff, it's easier for you to attract better players. And probably same with you, Branko, then is...
Folk will not believe it, but the first time I was at Cumnock, I bought Simon Black, John Tinney, Stuart McDonald, Richie Barr, Johnny McClay.
They're not paying you here. Mind you say that to Tony there.
and folk talk, Richie Barr left here, went the medal for a lot of money, but Richie Barr came from Renfrew to here, because obviously I came from Renfrew to here with Johnny McClay. I think he was in £70 a week. He was a Scottish internationalist.
I know Stuart McDonald was on more than that here.
Are you the same, Tony? You believe in that, don't you? You get the players based on the relationship you've got with him as a person, as a manager.
Believe it or not, Dak, see when you get a relationship with the players and they work with you and there's a loyalty and a trust there, what happens is there's a bond and a trust, and they know where you stand and I know where they stand, and you work together and you say, this is what I'm going to do with you, this is what you'll give me in return, and you get that kind of trust. But see, when it comes to contract negotiations, it's easy. You don't even actually have to talk about money, really. See the best players, they don't want to talk, they know they're worth a few quid. And the way that we've always worked, well, Branko and I, you know what a player's worth, so you don't insult him by saying, I'll give you 40 quid when he's really a £120 player. So you just say to the player, this is what I think you're worth. So it makes the negotiations easier. But I've always found a lot of negotiations with players, I always ask them their personal circumstances. If you get 3 kids, you get 5 kids, you get 2 kids, whatever, do you prefer to get your wages that way, or do you want it just lumped at Christmas? So you try and work with them as well.
Wee touches like that make a big difference. So I think that it shows a personal touch with players, in that you actually are interested in their situation. And I think, again, players, that's more important than money. See if you've got a guy who is, you think, well, this guy cares about me. You know what I mean?
It's relationships with the guys. It's like, I guarantee you that Tony is still speaks to the likes of Sidey, Tam Hanlon and all that. And Branko will be the same with his players, because you end up having a relationship that for life. It's like maybe with Davy Gregg, and it's like you meet managers. Like, I'm still really close with my manager under 21s, because I just seen him as that figure, that mature figure and all that, and I had an amazing relationship with him. So it is a bond for life, I always think, because you spend that time with him.
Important time as well.
Can you hear us all right, Craig? Because I know that's jumping in there, innit? You see, you want to wrap this up and I can there, then it's up to yourself, mate, you know what I mean?
No, in the buff, surely.
No
There's a poll in there.
Is there? Mrs. Dak hopefully not watching this episode, you know what I mean? Oh, I can hear it, let me pull that shirt down. I'll get it, mate, you just continue, sorry.
I'll get it.
The other thing as well is that Branko came across this as well. You take a punt on boys when they're younger. So like say, if I look at say Sidey or Steph McCluskey and boys like that, they were skinny boys when I took them. And now Sidey plays for Junior Scotland.
Sorry, but he's a fucking hell, man. Fucking Venoms and shots and everything in there.
But like say, wee Steph went upstairs. Branko's had a bundle in as well. Sean Winters and all them. You take them as young players, you develop them, and you put them upstairs.
That was something I was going to go into, is see the fact that you're talking about Sidey and stuff. Like, I'm the same age as Sidey. I've played against him at youth football and known him for quite a long time, and obviously had a very good career at this level, and he's a very good player. In my opinion, could have played higher. But how have you found it as progressing through the years, trying to find younger players? It's something like, I know what Dak's like trying to get players in, and I'm starting to experience it now, where I'm struggling a wee bit now, because I've been away for this level for quite a while. So I've struggled to get boys in, because I don't know who the young good players are. You try and keep your finger on the pulse to know, for talking's sake, if New Mains had an 18-year-old boy who, he looks a good gene, we'll need to keep an eye on him for the next couple of years, or is that something that you look at?
Don't be scared to take a chance early on though, because guys will develop and progress at different stages. You just got to have patience with them as well. You get a diamond that will come in right away and hit the ground running, but you also get one that might develop further on down the line.
How do you try and keep a player like that happy, where it's
young,
who isn't
massive communication? You've got to have that with them. I mean, I can talk about Stuart McCann if you want. So I brought Stuart McCann to Pollock, for example, and Stuart hated me for 4 months. Never played him. But what I done was every single week, Monday and a Wednesday, I took him out for a 1-to-1 session with me, and I say, this is what you need to do. I broke down his game, and I says, this is what you need to do, this is what you need to do better. And instead of getting up, he's brilliant there. At the start when he was coming, he was just flicking the ball, and I'm saying, you're flicking on to nobody. I said, so when you're up there, have a wee look, scan, take it down, or put it back, or put it to somebody, whatever you need to do. But I broke his game down into trying to make him a better striker. But I knew he was straining at the leash for 4 months. I seen the progression. I was working on his finishing, right foot, left foot, shooting, flicking on, taking it in, bringing us into the game. And then when I put him in the team about November, he never committed to him. But he was ready to play. But if I'd put him in the September, he's miles off it. He's got to be a better player. But it's brilliant to see Stuart McCann now as a player. He's a man now. He's built, he's quick, he's aggressive, and he's a great boy to coach as well. So it's important that you get them at the right age, as Branko says, but you've got to put a lot of work into them. You can't just say on you go and play and make a million mistakes, but you try and make them better.
You've got to have the coaching team to do that as well, because as well as you're spending time with that boy to develop him, the whole group can't suffer from it.
Exactly. So we've got at St Peter's, we've got a young boy, Jay Linney, who is 18, really small, really slight, but you can see there's a player in there, and I genuinely think he could progress into stepping up a couple of levels, maybe being a Premier League player at some point. There's a lot in there, but you see the wee man there, a couple of games we've had, is get proper frustrated because he's used to his 18s team getting the ball, drinking by people, and you're like, you're playing against men now. You need to maybe,
they won't make it easy for him.
You need to tailor your game a wee touch, or just learn to kind of
don't get close to him.
Just work on wee things.
Don't give them a chance to slow you down. All these things.
It's good for me and Dak being young in terms of management and coming into the game. It's good hearing guys like yourself say that stuff where it's like it's wee nuggets for where we could be selfish, where we pick it up. You know what I mean?
I've said this to Tony and that when I've been messaging. We'd be very, very stupid, right? Us and anybody listening, not to listen to what the likes of Tony and Branko have got to say. You've got Straney, you've got Faz, you've got Mick Kennedy, Moff, Ryan McStay, no want to miss anybody out, basically everybody, because even Tommy and Dink and Sean and that, you need to take on wee snippets for everybody, because as we said earlier, the amount of good coaches and talented coaches and good people, the level's littered with it. And I always think we get a bum deal at it, because I always think that clubs look and they always stay within that senior ranks, but by fuck man, the standard's good.
Sometimes you've got to ask a question of boys as well. So another one I can give you is Sidey. Sidey couldn't header the ball when he came to me. He was like a pipe cleaner. And it ended up at corners. I said to him, you're Martin, I don't like that gaffer. I says, well Sidey, I'm putting you in there, you're 6'1", you need to learn this. I says, you need to learn this type of job. And now he's unbeatable in there as a left back.
How physical
he's physical, but he was like that when
it's as you're saying, Tony, but it's used a gaffer that
you've got to
other
see that.
Gaffers wouldn't invest the time. There's gaffers out there that wouldn't invest the time that you've done with Stuart McCann and other players, and Branko will be the same, pulling players aside, maybe playing the same position, passing on a bit of knowledge, because you might not have that time. But you've seen something and you believe in your players that you're investing that time in them.
Another good thing as well as Mark's already pointed out, you've got to have the management team to do that. See, I couldn't go and do 1-to-1 with say Cal and Veach, who we've brought to the club this year. I can't go to do that unless I've got quality coach in Mark, I've got a quality coach in Stuart Alson, and a quality goalie coach, because then they take the other 19 players if I want to do a 1-on-1 with guys, or if Mark wants to do a 1-to-1 with Greg Ferry, I've got to step in with Stuarty and look after the wider group. You've got to have good coaches that you've got to bounce ideas off.
So obviously you've had a very aging team when you've come in, and then you've ended up getting record points in the Super First when you've won it. How big a task was that summer for you, for going to getting relegated? What do you think, was there any individuals or certain things that you did as a management team that kind of turned it quite quickly? Because it obviously was turned very quickly to have the successful season you had.
Make sure the players wear socks.
It's a modern day.
Come on.
Yeah, you should know now, Branko. The game's changing, you know what I mean? The game's changing. You need to deal with characters, personalities. that.
You still wear socks on a Saturday, but
Of course, no, I mean,
how's your shinnies up?
I left my socks in that bowl in there. Left them in that bowl in there, but I mean, is he wearing any socks?
Sorry. So there's a lot of work you've got to do. That's massive. Your recruitment's massive. You've got to get the right types, the right age profile. We like working with boys probably 22 to 28, where you can try and progress them through, so there's a togetherness and push them through. So if I think here, we've only got one boy over 30 now, so the group's the right age level. But
for the future, doesn't
we need to build them and push them through.
And that doesn't mean to say we'll not bring anyone in at that age. If it's the right player who's going to complement what you've got, we'll do it. But it's you've got to remember the size of our pitch. We're playing an Astro every week, and what we're doing. You're not going to have an over 30s team.
Well, that's the thing. Jock's talking about how big the pitch is. We'll need to turn his mic down a wee bit.
Half pint aside, Jock.
I'm alright.
Look at that, man. That's fucking service. Anybody want to sing me Cumnock? Get down to Cumnock. It's fucking brilliant in here.
You look at, like, you're talking about the size of the pitch, and Jock's telling me the dimensions and stuff. I think it was like 97 metres by 60, and it's a big pitch. You've got to have the right individuals to be able to utilise that, because it's we've spoken about it with Ashfield. You know that you're probably going to be a two-team where it's
you've got a chance, PG. We need legs, you know, mate.
I'll be honest with you, lads. Like, this is why it just shows you, like, it's good for other people to watch your podcast, even other managers, other coaches, because we were quite naive. We're a young management team, we're naive. You can sometimes think, but what we're doing's alright, but we watch the podcast, Maxie watched the podcast, and then sometimes when you do think, it's like, maybe it is. If Stevie Rankin and Davey and that are saying something and they've been so successful in the game, you need to maybe take a step back and go, is that maybe worth exploring? Because we were just maybe, our part is tight and things like that, so it's maybe something that we need to think about and be open-minded. And I know it's something that we've spoke about, and Max will always make the call based on what he thinks is the best. He'll never be influenced, but we do take a step back and we listen to what people's got to say.
Well, see you saying that, because obviously we're like, my team's playing your team in the next few weeks, and I've already been thinking, that park's tight, who's probably best to play? And even though it's only a pre-season friendly, you never switch off, you know what it's like. I'm like, who's probably best to play? And I don't know whether it's...
I tell you what, but I'm never going to be as nervous for a friendly in my life, mate, when we play yous, mate.
Mate, I know it's horrible.
It's not.
Fortunately, you should be beating us, so I don't have the pressure.
I know this is about Branco and Tony and Cumnock, but
we're supposed to get beat off everybody, so it doesn't matter.
I was a bit nervous with the crossbar challenge here.
The good thing is, now when I come up to Cumnock, when I bring Ashfield up to play Cumnock, I'm relaxed, man. I'm like, get my hair Tony and Branco now, so I can just swagger up and say, alright boys, sorted.
Maxie will be like, Riser, where's Dak? He's like, he's in at the pole on the social
media.
media.
Thank you very much, man.
Look at that, look at the service in it, it's brilliant. So,
see, your team and your coaching methods have got, as well as being versatile, don't be too stubborn on it.
Aye.
I know as if I bought that there, Tony, it's on your tab.
I'll go first.
I know we've kind of branched off it in it, but it's
I think you're right, being versatile is big, because you see Callum Davidson, to put it at the top level in this country, Callum Davidson had says that 3-5-2 was not something he looked at doing when he took the St Johnstone job, and then winning a double, playing a 3-5-2, because that was the personnel he had. And it's like,
don't be too rigid and stubborn on what you do.
If you said to do that, your management did the all the time.
Always. Well, when we talk about Cumnock, when we came here, the team was playing 4-3-3.
Yeah.
They weren't a 4-3-3 team. The group of players they had miles away from a 4-3-3 team. Try to shoehorn a formation in that didn't work. So we ended up going a 4-diamond-2 and went 8 games unbeaten, 6 clean sheets.
Did you like that, does he?
I tell you what, for Neil Lennon.
But what's happened is,
does he like the diamond?
What we had was we had 4 quality central midfielders, but there was only playing 3, and one was on the bench.
And maybe didn't have the width.
So what we ended up doing was just working the 4 of them together.
You've got to play to your strengths, haven't you?
You've got to look at your players.
On that diamond, because that diamond can move in your areas as well as.
What the thing
so
is,
it will give you
what people don't understand is probably how much work you had to put into that, because as you say, it's easy playing four central players, but trying to let them understand the diamond and how to play in a diamond is a different kettle of fish.
Rather
Rather than playing a flat four where it's four, it sticks out like so fun when you're playing four central midfielders that show you need width. But trying to teach boys and picking the right player to play the one at the tip, the one at the deepest. But
huge credit to
I
the
sound as
players.
if I know what I'm saying here.
Good. Huge credit to the players as well, because they adapted very, very well to it. And bought it right away.
They understood where we were coming from.
Doubled on the drinks. Doubled on the drinks.
That you're going to have to get a fucking hotel tonight.
Sorry.
You'll be coming back, you.
I'm fucking signing.
Aye, so I mean, be open-minded about your formation, be open-minded about your players, because sometimes you get a cracking player that comes to you, like we got a bluebird when I was at Pollard with David Winters. What a phenomenal player, best finisher I've worked with, tremendous player. And then you then say to yourself, well, David's not an out-and-out traditional 9, but what a finisher, and he's more a 10. He could play, but he could finish. He was brilliant. So you couldn't try and shoehorn a formation and say, David, be a centre forward. And that's not him.
But he just retired, didn't he?
What a player!
Went in as an assistant manager at Cali Braves, isn't he?
What a player! Still speak to David all the time.
How did that feel after winning a Scottish with shots, and then where you weren't the favourites at all, and then losing on penalties to Beath, where you probably would have been favourites for the game? What's the contrasting emotions for that?
Oh, it's gutting. I mean, like I say, but you've got to show your class. You know, you've got to show your class in victory and defeat. I remember when we won it, Tommy Sloan was different class with me after the game, and I'd like to think I showed a touch of class to Johnny Miller and his group. When I was gutted for the players, gutted for the supporters, gutted for myself, but you've just got to show a bit of humility and class and say, well done to Beath. And to be honest, if there was ever a club that deserved to win it, it was probably Beath. It was their first trophy. I was delighted for Johnny to win it as a manager. I was delighted for Big Bull, and they were a good group of boys. You know, they hit the post a couple of times, didn't they, Beath? They were a good club.
It was a good wee spell. They were kind of getting through that time as well. Right, Branko, Arthurlie, the big rivals of Pollock. How was your time there?
That's when I had them in my pocket.
Did you? Jurgen Klopp to Guardiola. That's what I saw. That's Jurgen Klopp to
He's on the
Guardiola.
mantelpiece of the house.
Don't get me wrong, Branko's loving this, and you know what? I love it, man. He's fucking.
What did you ask?
I'd just like to. One of your former players, Paul Stewart, Tiny, had sent me a message because you played them yesterday. Even though this will be out on the 16th of June, he's played a couple of weeks ago. And I want to hear what you think of what Tiny said about the game. So
Yesterday's game. It'll be his comments.
Well, what Tiny has said is, I asked him how was the game yesterday. He said, I would say it was a decent friendly. We probably had the better half. I'm assuming he meant first half, especially first 30.
What was the score?
Second probably Ichi Peachy. So Tiny, the boys are going to dissect your views on the game. What did you think of Tiny's comments?
We must have get beat. What was the score?
It was 1-0.
1-0.
It was 1-0.
So we didn't really have any of the game.
There was no mention of him throwing goal, was there?
No, he didn't. He never said that to us.
No, I think he was treading water at that stage.
You're blowing friendships out the water.
Not at all.
And see, the thing is, you fucking asked Branko about Arthurlie, mate.
I just had to mention it because it was coming for you there, Tiny.
Do I need to get back out in that pole, mate? You fucking sit together.
That top off again.
Yeah,
why did you mention that about him?
I can't believe I get my nubbins out. I'll not be allowed to do this again. I will not be allowed. If Mrs. Dax sees this episode, anybody do not tell her. She will not.
No, Jill, let's not watch this one.
He's up that.
Let's watch something else.
You know what she'll say? I love her to bits, right? But she'll be going, he's up that social club for Ronnie's podium.
Some podcast.
He's an over behind a side. Tell him he's doing a podcast.
Let's be honest, but Jill's no surprised by any of this behaviour.
Oh no, she has to love me. This is the way I all the time.
And I'm sorry, Jill.
Anyway,
don't hit us, Jill, right? But you chose to marry him, so this is on you.
Leave the wife right. She's a diamond. Branko, Arthurlie, what's happening?
Well, I was fortunate to get asked to take it. Fabi and I got asked to take the job after they went through probably a kind of tough patch. They had a successful time with Wee Quady and Frank Lynch, and then they went through a transition. I think it was Gary Folds or one or two before that, and they were going through a tough patch. And the officials there, a guy called Billy Anderson, I knew through business with William Tracy's. He asked Fabi and I would we go in and take the team to the end of the season, and that was it, as much as it was. So Fabi and I went in. We knew a few of the players there. Fabi had played with them. We kept him up, and we won the old Central League Cup against Renfrew in the final. And the officials then offered us the job full time, which was great, brilliant. We accepted the job. But one thing I said to Fabi is, we're very, very young. We've just finished playing. We need to bring somebody experienced in to be the rock beside us. And there was no better guy than Quady. So we brought Quady in, and he was there for me through thick and thin. And not long into that season, Fabi decided he wanted to still play. So he moved back to playing, and then we brought Gavin Duncan in.
What age were you when you were done there?
I'll be 36 when I was at Atherley, and Fabi would have been 35.
How did you find that then, Branco, going for being young? Because was there players in the team, like from my experience, see when we've been at Ashfield, when the gaffer got the job and we've been in, we were all at 33, 34, 35. But we had the likes of Marky McManus was 38. Diego, what a player, one of the best technically. You know Paul McCulkin, Diego.
Aye.
I mean, brilliant, 39, and you're sitting in you're in charge of a dressing room, and there's boys in that dressing room older than you. Do you know what I mean?
I didn't treat it any different for obviously being the captain of a successful team. It was just the next
It's a
step.
character,
It's
you're
just
in it.
that,
It's a character,
You're either a person that can communicate and lead, or you're not. And it
If
was
you're
just,
the captain of that team that's that successful, and the names that you rhymed off when you and Faz won that Scottish Cup, and all that success with that Buffs team, then you've got to have a bit about you, haven't you?
No,
You've got to have a bit about you.
They were a good side.
and communication with your players is paramount. I mean, it's how you have that relationship with them.
I think it is huge. It's again something I'll be bringing it up because myself and Dak involved at this level coaching now, and it's something when I coached at amateur level I wasn't very good at. I just don't tell players what to do, they'll do it. And it's for me, I mean, I'm only 33 now.
That's the difference, and that's what's different between me and you. I'm all about the players. I love to get in and about the players. You're very good. See, for me, sometimes you make hard decisions that's going to upset somebody. I find that difficult sometimes personally, and I know for you boys, you have been managers. How hard do you find that, where you need to tell somebody they're not playing and there's somebody that's not going to make a cup final squad, or there's somebody...
Be honest with them.
Be honest.
I can do it, but by fuck, I hate doing it.
Yeah, it's not, be honest, because obviously you don't butter it up, because the guy's not going to be happy about it.
See the easy side of managing a team and leading a club is when you're winning, right? So that's easy because everyone's at the momentum, the roller coaster's going, everybody's on side. The difficult part of managing, as you've pointed out, leaving boys out Scottish Cup teams, squads. You're not picked, I'm sorry. You're not in 18, you're not in 16, whatever it is. Hard, but you've got to be honest, as Brank says, about you've got to communicate. The other thing as well is, see if you've had a wee bump in the road, you've had 2 or 3 defeats, pressure's on. That's when you've got to show leadership. You've got to be a proper manager then. The easy bit is when you're winning. You're winning, that's easy. Because you don't have to do an awful lot actually. You know, because the boys take that along. When you're getting beat, that's when you've really got to step up to the plate.
I also was very fortunate, Atherley, to inherit a young, vibrant, young side.
They were a good side.
Who was all playing with him at that time, Brian?
So you had Sean Winter, Craig Malcolm, Frank McEwen.
They're all still kicking the ball off him.
Ginge, Stevie Aitken,
mentioned Tiny and all, gone it.
Lee Sharp. No, we signed Tiny.
There you go then, last sorry. Tiny,
but I mean, we were talking about some of the boys in that team that all, 5 of them went to Stranraer. Stevie Aitken, Lee Sharp, Frank, Malky and Sean went to Stranraer. Neil Parry ended up going to Queen's Park.
Parry was a good goalkeeper.
Mick Keenan went to Queen's Park. So, I mean, that team ended up breaking up.
I mean, when I was playing 21s, I got asked to go in with Steve Easton, was gaffer at PZ at the time.
I know
and Neil Parry was a goalie. Fucking brilliant.
With Joe Andrew.
Joe's a good player as well.
Great player. We got him from Alloa. So Joe was at Atherley, went to Alloa and then came back.
Good player, Joe. So how you're talking about it's kind of easier when you're winning. How you even now as a team?
How did you? Sorry, PG, I've heavy interrupted you there, mate. And how did you link up? Because obviously I know that Tony, you've had your backroom staff, and Branko's been Have you linked to me, Branko? This wasn't a hungry question. Have I done a tongue here for the podcast? Am I sorted it out?
So how it came about was I had my management team when I was at Lanark. I had 2 good seasons at Lanark, brilliant, 2 promotions, done really well, and then went to Shorts, same thing, won a few things. But I had the same management team, I had Stuart at Ralston and Biscuit, and Sheldy, who was there for a few years. But when I went into Pollock, I asked Branko, because what happened was Sheldy was stepping aside, and I'd asked Branko to come on, and what ended up happening was
No,
so what's happened is his work situation, was it National Logistics Director or something like that, he took me on a big role, and it meant a lot of travelling, and he had a lot of things to sort.
Right.
And when I asked him, it was the wrong time, and what ended up happening was I brought Murdy in.
Right.
So I had me, Stuart, Murdy and Biscuit, but it was Branko that I'd asked to come in. That was how it worked out, you know.
It's bad how it worked out, and then so I just take it, Tony, when
but
you
then,
got
but
to
then when I
Cumnock,
came
Joe,
here, I'd asked
you asked
Branko,
again.
because was Stuart and
So what was your link? How did you always just know
We
each
were-
other for the
we've
game,
always
and you
known
always
each other,
been
aye.
pals?
used to slaughter each other.
Aye.
We still do.
Aye. Here, listen, I know.
No, I
know.
think there's a lot of respect, because when I used to play against his athlete team, I fucking hated it, right?
Aye.
Because they used to jammy bastards, right? They used to win 1-0 and all that.
So
you
he's
know.
telling the truth when he hit one on you, Tony.
I got him one back, but
Aye.
because when he went to Kilburn, we talked to him about the Scottish. Is that right?
You got a one-off one. You got
What
lucky. You got lucky once.
Was it nippy between us?
Oh,
Always.
You said no. You said
I won.
it's the last result. You always think,
Aye.
who won the last result between us?
Oh, dear,
so
here,
I always think of that one. I don't bother.
But you'll be
forget what it
happy
was.
then. You'll be happy, Tony. You got your man then.
So what ended up happening is I came here, Stuart and Biscuit were the management team. Me, Mick had phoned us up for Darvo and said, can I take Biscuit and Stuart? Because he didn't have a management team, and he said, I need somebody at that level.
Right.
So I mean, I've known Michael, he's a good friend, and spoke about it, and I says, well, as long as you know that when I come back in, they're coming with me, because they're guys, they're loyalties to me. So what happened was when I came here, I knew they were in contract at Darvo, but I'd always wanted to work with Mark, because I'd always hated playing against these teams, but there was a lot of respect there as well. So when we came in, you know, we had to work that out, but then Stuart and Biscuit have now joined us, you know, this season.
So what?
It's a couple of things. We obviously, I've been my man in my own rights. I've been a
That's what I was
manager.
gonna say, how
But
do you
prior to
find
that, I
that?
was an assistant. I was assistant to Billy Peacock at Renfrew. I was assistant to Shanksy here at Cumnock. I was assistant to Wardy at Albion Rovers. So obviously my job took me away from the managerial side. And to be fair, I don't know if folk will say I am right or wrong. I prefer being a number 2.
Aye.
I just, it's obviously my job is quite demanding, and it takes a bit of time as well, and so does managing the club.
Aye.
But I think we bounce a lot of things off each other. And
We've got a lot of same ideas about football, and the other thing as well is the other two that we are really good as well.
Yeah.
They've worked with me for 10 years. So Stuart and Branko
That's
know
what
each
I mean,
other.
it'll be like family.
Biscuit knows.
We use
Yeah, so
Tony,
we've all been pals.
Right.
with Biscuit and Stuart will be like family because you've went all that time together and that probably.
Mark
each
is
other.
as well, so
Aye.
we've got a good group, and you know, don't get me wrong, seeing that wee taxi sport in that room, some arguments. Should do this and do
I
that.
feel
I
that,
don't
I
like
never-
that, I don't like that. And
Can it be
I
yes
don't-
men?
Aye,
100%.
I don't want
can't
anybody to be a yes man.
saying yeah.
That's like we said with Max, and I don't know how many times, and I said it in another podcast that we've done before. It's like Maxie's like you, Tony, where you say you like to have the views of all your background stuff. Like there's times with Max, he's very good at that, where he can bounce things, but he's very good at then saying, no, I'm going to do it this way. And then we've had times, but see when you're in that dressing room minute, you're 100% behind the gaffer.
Aye.
Even though you're sitting there going, he's a dick, he didn't do, and I think is better. And all
Of course
that.
it is.
The
No,
other-
in public you'll always agree, but
Aye.
you'll have your disagreements
Aye.
behind the scenes.
And it's healthy, isn't
Yeah,
it?
absolutely.
The other good thing is, see when you're at the side of the park together, you see different things.
Yes.
So, they like to say, don't mind me saying it, but Stuart is all about how we're playing into. He's super focused on we're doing this well and we're doing that well, whereas I'm looking at the opposition, how to unpick them.
Aye.
Branko's got that eye as well, where he's doing well for us and we're getting joy in this area, so we try and fuse all that together.
Aye.
And somehow you come up with a solution
Good.
to a wee problem. So it's good to, you don't, see if you have yes men, it's pointless being in football. Pointless. You've got to have different ideas.
So that was one of the things I said to Swifty. I was watching Swifty.
I shouldn't have been there. This is what it's all about. You've wrote down stuff to go through, and we're just having a right good chat about football and this level of football.
See, the thing is, it's good to hear. It's good to hear different sides. Like that's where it's good. Again, go back to myself and Dad doing it. It's good for us to speak to guys like yourself because we have certain views on it. It's like you're saying about Maxie. Well, you know what I think about Maxie after a few times I've met him. I think Maxie's brilliant. I think he's a great guy. I think that Ashfield are in very good hands under him. But it's good to see as well where, because I know you think him, but at the same time you need that where you can't just go, yes Maxie, yes.
Well, I went into Kilburnley with Swift and Crilly, and the first thing I said to him is the two of you have surrounded yourself with your mates as your players.
Aye.
And they kind of looked at me and I says, well, I wasn't coming here to be a pal. You've surrounded yourself with mates and they're no fit. Your pitch is huge and they're no fit. And then they kind of went, oh.
That's
look what's happened to
exactly.
Look what's happened to Swifty's career. He's obviously put that advice on, you know what I mean?
It's good to see. I don't know Swifty personally, but it's good to see him getting the Stenny job because we've said it. Dak says it all the time. We're massive on this level and promoting it. There's so many good managers at this level.
He's developed every team and club he's been.
Exactly. It's. I mean, like
it speaks volumes from him.
I used to be assistant manager at a Saturday morning amateur team, and we trained beside Swifty's team when he was at BSC at Scotstoun, and I used to like watching them. I'd like sometimes like my mate Jai, who was the manager, he'd be doing a drill, and I'd just disappear and watch Swifty's training for a bit, and you can see why he does well because he knows his stuff.
Yeah.
But onto your time at Cumnock now, he's been here 2 years November it'll be, you were saying.
Aye.
But he's haven't had a lot of games due to COVID obviously, and there's nothing that can be done about that. What are you trying to build here?
You want to go first? Yeah, I mean, you're starting off with the foundations, and obviously from where we were, we finished off. I mean, you could say we finished off at the wrong time because we were the momentum, the run was there. You can also say we finished off at a good time, so we can go and build and develop from there on. But that's only started the piece. There's a long journey here, but it's all saying that you need to walk before you can run, before you can do everything else. So that's where we're going. We're taking stages and stages at a time. Big one for us was the club licence as well.
Aye.
All these things are all going on. They all might, as you say, you take small steps at a time, they all add up.
Definitely.
You can take. I mean, like I say, I've wrote the club a 3-year plan, and that's an incremental progress. So they've got to, first and foremost, as Mark says, you've got to get the right foundations in place. So academy, structure, 20s team, making the first team better, making the first team secure, which we've done. The next stage is now being competitive. So being competitive in our eyes is later stages are the trophies and as high up the league as possible. So, but you can't, we've walked in the door and we were joint 15th. You can't go from joint 15th to first in the Super Premier League. There's 20 teams who are all ambitious, who are all stable, who have been together a long time. We're bringing a new group together, and what's happened is that's going to take time to gel, but it's no through a lack of willingness, coaching, ability, togetherness, team management, team bonding. That'll all happen in the background, and we will be competitive this year.
Nobody says we don't want to be number one.
Of course,
but you need to be realistic of what you're trying to achieve.
You need to just take it incremental steps, and then by maybe this time next year, you're a different proposition for players to attract, and also where you are in the league or what league you're in.
I think it's good to see for your short spell down here the night that it seems to be the committee are supporting it big time with you, and they're buying into it, and they've got your back on that. And that, see, as a management team, like you were sitting saying, like the committee have really had your back when you have really, both of you were saying, if you really wanted to try and get something, they've done their best to try and get you. You see all the work that they've done behind the scenes, then you know it's
I said that to Tony. I mean, Cumnock's always been a big club. You've been here.
I've always known Cumnock. I've just never been good enough to come down here and play.
They've just never ignited the fire.
This might surprise you. Having been a Pollock manager for 4 or 5 years, this is actually a bigger club than Pollock. Pollock's got they've got a loyal fan base, but they've not got the fan base that this club could have. Plus as well, the community hub here is phenomenal. It's a proper community facility, and it's a proper community club. Not only are they doing all this stuff for the kids, the academy, for fun 4s up to the 20s, but they also do food parcels and stuff like that. All of that brilliant stuff around about the community. A proper community club doing the right things by their people. So you want to give something back there as a manager. You want to give something back as a manager of the first team. try and give something back to
No
the
pressure
supporters.
to you, but last time I was here as a number 2 was the Scottish Cup final.
Alright, Joe.
What?
Last time I was here as a number 2, we got the Scottish Cup
But
is
Tony,
the Scottish
they
Cup
lost.
final.
Eh?
They lost though.
But
They did.
Aye.
You've done your homework, eh?
aye. The other thing
It's not
is,
true what
well,
you say. It's not true what you said about him.
I don't say it. Don't you try and create a divide.
Try and put a rift between us. Right.
the biggest pressure you put on is yourself.
Aye.
You take away all the noise from outside and try and focus on the job in hand. And
Use
if you
it
do
for-
that, then you
Yous have both had
You're
successful
doing-
careers playing and managing, so he's only going to accept yourselves
No chance.
without a committee being on you saying we want success. Yous are demanding that on yourselves, you know what I mean? So it's
See
type
for
of
me, you're
people that
touching on the community hub stuff, and it's so different, the club, in terms of it. I know the club personally, and I know how big a club is and what it means to
how
the
much has it
community.
changed since you've been here?
Mate, that's what I was about to say. It's so different in terms of. I'd say that to Jock when we were talking earlier. I was talking to a couple of our committee guys who I thought were first class and everything they were saying. It's like before it was like we were just a football team, but now see like you're talking about the food bank stuff, and I think that Dak's going to be stealing soon.
That was the thing how I didn't make it in top level goal leagues. I had wee horns, they're pints. They're actual pints.
full pints.
They're full pints.
But see, talking about like everything the club's doing, and see, in a cynical point of view for it, it could be seen, and I know it's not the way it's been done because I know it's Cumnock men who are doing this stuff. In a cynical way, you could say, well, that's going to get you people in the door, which helps the club. But see, for me, talking to the guys, I could see how passionate they were. Like yous, I said it earlier before we came on, yous were all kind of at the park talking, and I was outside with the committee guys, and I can see how passionate they are about the club and the community. And I think that, like you say with Pollock, who are massive, this is a bigger thing than Pollock in a sense, because you can feel the community. Like even we're laughing and joking, the young team through there getting a bevy on a Sunday night. You're like,
Aye, they knew Branco and Tony before they knew us.
Aye, you know what I mean? That's strange, you know. But the
That's what you
fact
know
that-
is big in there.
fact
Normally
that they're
anywhere I
all
go in Glasgow, everybody's, oh, what's happening, Dag? It's big Dag's in the house. Get your gear off. I come in here and everybody's like, who are you?
well, there's Dak, and he's big pal.
Aye.
But the fact that they're here,
Big serious pal.
big serious man, so serious man. The fact
Yes,
that they're
serious
here,
tonight, are they?
oh, I'm all fucking game heat man. Honestly, you actually see me in the dressing room, I just follow it with everybody. I don't have a funny side in me, but everything's been put together so well. It's been 11, 12 years since I've been here, and it seems so far ahead. Honestly, I think that with that behind you are only going to get better. In particular, having, and I'll use Dak's phrase here, not go smoke up your arse, but having the calibre of you two and your backroom staff who have won stuff and have been at finals and all that, I think that the club has got a real good chance at being able to push here the next 3 or 4 years to look to win this league or get into the Lowland League. I really do.
And you want to be here when it takes off.
Aye.
That's a big thing for us, isn't it?
Yeah.
You want to, Branko's told me some stories when he was here before what it was like, but the committee are more forward thinking. You know, there's businessmen in the committee. It's not like an old junior committee as you would see it, but you've got that side of it. But you want to be here when the success comes round, and you want to play a part in that, and you want to give back. That's a big thing for me.
They're also aware as if you don't move with the times, they'll be left behind.
Yeah.
That's a big thing that's going on in football just now.
Aye. I've repeatedly
See, the
said
thing was, when we walked in, all the work's been done at Cumnock, right? And you walked in and it was all the pictures of old teams and that, and PG wasn't even one of them. What happened?
I knew that was coming.
What happened?
Dak, just what you're saying there, see the likes say very, very soon at this level, you're going to have the haves and the have-nots. You're going to have the clubs that have the licence that are pushing forward,
Aye.
and you're going to have the ones that have not, who will just regress.
Well, we spoke about
It's
it.
hard one,
Aye.
Tony, for clubs
It
that
is.
haven't
Well,
got
you
the
see what's
resources,
involved with
but,
But what's happened is you'll see
Aye.
this will come through in the next.
but they did
Couple of
say,
years.
but we had Matt on doing a shot, Matt Bamford, see I'm calling him Matt now as if like my pure knickers, not I mean,
my friend-
he's
my
not
friend.
spoke, he's not spoke to me since we done the podcast. That's what Tony and Branko don't speak to me after the podcast, but Matt Bamford said like, hopefully then it's like the league are going to try what they do to help. Do you feel as a club that he's got help for the league or that? But I don't know if that's something they're going to try.
I think the officials
Get better
got
at.
some help,
Aye,
didn't
aye,
they? They got
we don't really
advice
see
and
that.
they get pushed
Aye.
on for that. We didn't.
get involved in.
So hopefully it is something.
That's a family over there. It's no football park, it's no football ground, it's no football teams. It's a family.
Love that job. Love it, mate.
it.
That's what it's all. That's what I feel as if it's like at Ashfield, because I know the all 9 people that come to Ashfield every week. You know what I mean? So it's a family club, mate.
It's like
See all the changes. There's been some amount of changes.
See that
What's
shower?
happened? What's the changes in there? Aye, Branko.
See that shower
You've been
downstairs?
dying to get this out. I'm getting it out.
That's not for the license.
Branko,
What
tell
is
us.
it?
I was talking about.
Well, that was
No,
for
because
them.
for people that have not been to Cumnock, like myself today, the gaffer's office is away down the stair at the other side, and then you need to go down the corridor, up the stair into the home changing room. So there's a bit of a walk there, there's a bit of a hanging. So Branko, sorry, just in case people have not been into Cumnock like myself, they know the setup here.
This shower was put in for Tony. Wasn't he comfortable walking up through the stairs and all that with his underpants on?
Is that right?
You don't want to do that, do
It's
you?
women and that about,
Yeah.
I mean, it's
The
families
yeah.
about, you know what I mean?
And
Don't
here-
do that.
At first after 2 or 3 wins, the chest was pumped out and all that.
I heard the gaffer.
He was getting a bit nervous
I
after.
heard the gaffer had a towel wrapped around him, and he wanted the Tony Soprano music and the Godfather music, and he was walking up his towel
Come on, Patsy.
past the hospitality suite and all that, saying, I'm just heading in for a shower.
I think he was like that. The chest all pumped up.
The pair of Superman pants.
No, we,
I mean,
You
a
don't-
lot
you
of the
don't
things,
see
a lot of what we asked for the club have been brilliant to back us, so they're very appreciated.
but is
of
it
that.
wee things? Because you don't want to be mixing with the players. Like, I've been
I hate the players, man.
I asked you.
You're not as
I
good
know
as
you've
your
been
players,
to
remember
Ashfield.
that.
I'm not
I
very
know
good.
you've been to Ashfield, but I don't know these like the in the gaffer's room. But there's no like shower facility. So once the game's done, the dust is settled, and you go in. You're sharing a shower with
And
some
with
of the
the
boys,
plebs.
and they're talking about.
Ah.
They're talking shite, aren't they? And
Aye.
you're sitting going, you're in the management team. You're trying to bite your tongue, going, I don't
It's
want
either
to
that
follow
or
anybody here.
you go out and
Aye.
you debrief the game and you wait till the players are away.
Aye,
Is
it's
that not
hard.
that wee totty pitch, Ashfield? You can score a biker. Is it?
Oh, listen, I couldn't go in the park, Branko, to score a bike kick, man.
Look, I'm going to use an exclusive. You might see a bit of Dak this season, to be honest with you.
Aye.
He's got his brother's got a gym, right? And old Dak's almost every day he's in there. He's getting himself sharp.
See, to be honest with you,
You get something to tell us.
Aye, he's not even told me this,
Are
Branko.
you
It's just
gonna,
something I'm feeling.
Are you going to snub this?
I feel like I'm under pressure. I'm on the stage.
Are you going to snub this
Come.
contract offer?
Listen, if it's between Ashfield and having a chance of being in the squad and being signed as a player again, and coming up here and getting big pints and venoms and dancing in a pole every Saturday, sorry Maxie, I'm going to fucking come on, no choice, don't come on. Let's just do the deal for the boy here, it's done. Never mind money, see what I'm talking about money, I don't care.
We'll talk about the money later.
I tell you what, that's as good a place as any to finish. That's an exclusive. Dak signing with Cumnock.
No, I wish, mate, I wish that.
But look, guys, we really appreciate you inviting us down. Jock, thank you very much for having us.
Pleasure.
I think what you've got here is tremendous. Everything for the kind of team you're building, what you're doing in at the club, the community work, I think it's commendable, and I've really enjoyed seeing it. To see how much it's changed in the last 10 years, I think it's tremendous.
We'll leave the last word with the boys, but you blow smoke up, I'm going to blow smoke up yours. Boys, what a management team Cumnock have got, and they're very, very lucky in my opinion to have these guys in that have been so successful in the game, know their grade so well, and they're only going to take the club through the roof. We've been lucky enough to be sitting talking for hours before and hopefully after this about the plans for the future, and Cumnock's in really safe hands. And what is it for next season, boys? What's the plans? Where is it going? What's happening?
As high up as we can possibly finish. We're ambitious as management team and as a football club.
We want to be competitive at the right end, you know, going all the way to finals and, you know, as high up the league as we can. So, and the Senior Scottish Cup's a nice wee bonus for us this year, so let's see where that takes us.
Big draw, and hopefully we'll be able to keep back there.
I'm going to ask you to say what the final word for us in a minute, but what I did like having been down here was the dartboard you've got in the dressing room with the Talbot team on it. I like that. That was good, man. I like that. Just throwing darts at home so other place. I like that.
And that'll be even better when you put it on the
thing
camera.
was, I seen Tony walk here and rip out Tucker. He was dead gracious and all that when we beat him and that. We're good friends.
Right,
He's a top man.
Tony, can you do us a favour? Can you ask our
wonderful viewers to like the channel and subscribe to the channel, so you can have last word, because I normally say it and Dax already asked you. Go on. One is there. I want to see them there.
Branko, he's looking at the camera.
Get that like now, I'm telling you.
Brilliant, guys.
Subscribe and like to this
Thank you
channel.
very much. Cheers.
Yes.
Excellent, guys. Cheers.
Top fella.